Welcome back to the Two Guys Named Chris show. I almost called it crap. Sorry. Jeez. Did you hear me call it that? I almost called it a pile of S.
Two Guys Named Crap show.
My God. I almost said that. That was so Freudian.
Yeah. Well,
this is crap.
This is such crap. I get so many emails when Chris Demm's not here. You're such crap.
Such crap. They do it on purpose. They know how to get in your head.
Yeah.
They do it. They don't mean it. They just do it because they know how to get in your head.
They're winding me up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They know.
As a group, the Demmers tried to wind me up. It's awful without Chris Demm. What's the point in going on without Chris Demm? All of that.
We should have just played clips of him all day.
Yeah.
Just old clips of Chris Demm.
Well, one day we'll be forced to do it.
That's right. We're trying to collect little pieces of him so that we could just play little responses, from him.
That's right.
There's that, I like that show, The Goldbergs.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a very funny show, set in the 80s. And the guy, the father on the show, who's a big character on the show, played by Jeff Garlin, who's on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Very funny.
Very funny. He got fired off the show after like 8 years because hostile work environment. He told jokes that were inappropriate. They'd warned him many times. They finally got rid of him. And the grandfather on the show, who was also great, died. And so I thought, well, that's going to be the end of it. Well, they're going on to another season. And with Jeff Garlin, they just take like outcuts of him from previous shows where they have like shot and not used him. And like you'll see him just like walk across.
Can they do that?
So he's still there, but not there.
And the way they're treating it, like they're getting a lot of backlash from viewers. And some of the actors are like, well, what do you want us to do? He's pivotal to the show, and we needed him for this scene. And like you just see his head, and then he's gone. Just out of context.
I hope he gets paid for that.
Well, I think one of the kids on the show got married, so you definitely needed him for that because they haven't written him out like he's died or anything. So they needed him for the wedding. So they cut to the corner and there he's standing.
So if he died in the plot line, the show's over.
I would think they would have ended it anyway. I mean, it's gone. It had a good long run, but they kept on going.
I've never seen an episode. I hear it is funny.
It's very funny.
And he's funny. I mean, when he's on Curb Your Enthusiasm, he's very funny.
I think you would like it for the nostalgia purposes. It's all from the 80s. I'll tell you something, and Lisa Lanier's holding on, so I'm wasting your time here. But that show, it's called The Goldbergs. It was on ABC, but now I think it's on Hulu. I haven't seen it all, but
I'll go look for it on streaming.
Well, they always go back to the 80s, and the kid who made it, his name is Adam Goldberg, in real life. And he would it was like camcorders were big, so he recorded tons of stuff that his family did, and then they would do episodes based on what he's recorded, and at the very end, for the last like 30 seconds, he'll show the actual things he recorded on his camcorder and compare it to what they've done in the show.
Oh, clever.
Very clever. And it's all based on stuff that happened in their family. And he doesn't change any of the names. Everybody in the show, like the side characters, the girlfriends, and that's all their real names.
Brilliant.
And they wanted it like that. It's very good. But when Goldberg left, or when Jeff Garlin left, I thought, well, that's going to be
What are you going to do?
But they kept on going. Lisa Lanier is on with us.
Good.
If she were to leave this show, we would paste her in here and there somehow.
Yeah.
Right. We have to have you, Lisa. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I hope you guys are.
Really good to hear from you. This is entertainment-based as well, and this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a big fan of Friday the 13th. I guess you probably are too, Lisa.
I love it. Absolutely.
Good.
Great franchise.
Good.
Oh.
Great franchise. Well, they've talked about rebooting it, restarting it, but there's a big legal fight over it because two guys originally made it, Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham. They had parts of Part 1 and Part 2, and they've done so much of Friday the 13th through the years. But now one of them, I believe, tell me if I'm getting this wrong, one of them owns the rights to the movie, but the other owns the rights to Jason with a hockey mask on. So the other has said, well, you can do the movie, but you can't use a hockey mask on Jason. And so the one guy says, well, that won't work. And it's all tangled up in legalities. So what's going to happen? Are they going to redo Friday the 13th or not, or can they, Lisa? What do you think?
Yeah, it's really interesting. They got into a fight. The screenwriter and the writer and the producer-director got into a fight about the rights. Mm-hmm. The court split the baby, and the court said, screenwriter, you've got the rights to the original screenplay and any and you can do derivative works from it. Mm-hmm. But, like you said, the producer and director has the rights to the character, Jason. And so for them to continue to do any more movies, they have to get along, and they don't. Man. So they're either going to have to kiss and make up, or we're going to have to wait 53 years till it's in the public domain, and then anybody can make a movie out of it.
Well, when I'm 104, I will be first in line.
And you'll be here.
Me too. I'll be right there with you.
You and I'll go together, Lisa. Let's make it a date.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you this. A friend of mine and I, we saw Top Gun together in 1986, and in the parking lot of the Randolph Mall, we pinky swore that we would see the sequel together.
It comes out in 3 or 4 years.
Right. Well, here, 36 years later, today, he and I are getting together for lunch, and we're going to see Top Gun 2.
That is awesome.
How good is that, right?
We'll be holding pinkies.
We kept our pinky swear together, and we're going to see it. Now, here's this question a P1 listener has, and I thought an interesting one, but I think she's out of luck. You tell me if I'm right on this. P1 says, I have a question for Lisa Lanier. Last month, there was a fox that came to our house and hung around and went up under our gazebo. My daughter, adult daughter, called animal control and said, we have foxes. Can you come take care of them? They say foxes are protected and there's nothing we can do. And they told us it was illegal to shoot a fox. They put her through to the sheriff's office, who told her the exact same thing. Nothing you can do to remove them, can't shoot them. Told us to watch it, make sure it leaves. Fast forward 3 weeks later, my daughter was standing outside, just standing on the sidewalk. The fox charged out from under the porch and started biting her. She was just standing there and did not provoke the fox. I took her to the emergency room. They gave her 9 shots, antibiotics. She had to have 3 follow-up shots for rabies. Now, my 28-year-old daughter is afraid to go outside after dark because she's convinced the fox is still there. The ER bill is $18,000. We think animal control should be on the hook at the very least for the hospital bills. They wouldn't do anything to help us. Lisa, I think she's out of luck. I think if the policy is they can't do anything, they can't do anything. What do you think?
Well, Kelly, that almost law school education you got is spot on here today.
Right. Yeah.
Paying off.
It is spot on.
Thank you.
Unfortunately. Now, it's not entirely true that you can never kill a fox. There is actually a fox hunting season. It is not currently fox hunting season, though. That runs from around Thanksgiving, November 20th, through January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And it varies a little bit county by county. Some allow trapping, some allow shooting. I think most of them have gotten away from trapping, and it's mostly all shooting now. But this time of year, absolutely, they gave her correct advice. They told her what the law says. And so for them to be held responsible for it, they would have had to have done something that was wrong or negligent. And just, advising her of the law is not negligence. But I will say, because I love some P1 listeners, I want to suggest to her that if she has this big $18,000 hospital bill that the daughter cannot afford, she should look into their financial assistance program. It's a program that every area hospital is going to have. It's for people that don't have health insurance, and they look at your income, and they basically will write off a percentage up to 100% of your bill based on your ability to pay. So a lot of people don't know about this. I would check that out. Also, if the fox continues to come around, or if other people have a problem like this, you can contact these private removal companies. They can be a little bit expensive, but a lot cheaper than the $18,000 hospital bill.
Right, yeah.
And just look up these private, like critter control type places, and they will come out and they will safely remove the animal and rehome it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Biggie's giving a wink and a nod on the safe removal.
I've got a great place for Mr. Fox.
Exactly. It's always that way.
He'll go live happily on a farm, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and that would be based on the daughter's income. Is that right, for this assistance that might be available? If she's an adult daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they will sometimes look at the household income as well. So if she lives at home still, that may be a factor. But it's worth looking at because they actually take the federal poverty guidelines and they multiply them by like 300%, 200%, depending on. So it's really a pretty decent write-off that you can get them to take. And it is because people, if you don't have health insurance, you can't afford that bill, and they would rather write off a portion of it and get some of it. And they'll also work out usually payment plans and stuff like that. But ask for financial assistance, and they'll tell you if you qualify.
Now, can I ask you this? This is really getting into the weeds on health insurance, but I thought when Obamacare became law of the land, you basically were forced to buy health insurance, if not through your employer, but then through the government. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, that's not like it's available to you, but you don't have to buy it. And it is a shame for folks not to have it because it is so inexpensive.
Right.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it is so reasonably priced.
You really should get it if you can at all.
It's good for her to look into that hospital.
Oh yeah.
She ain't gonna get it.
I didn't know about that. I had no idea that that was out there.
Homes with gazebos in the backyard don't get assistance. Why do you think the fox moved in?
Yeah, the gazebo. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're moving out. The Fox is staying.
Yeah, there's a trashy place 3 blocks around the corner. Fox ain't there.
Here's one for you, Lisa. This also involves money now. And this was a very long story, about 10 pages. So I read the first paragraph and trusted Lisa.
I'll fill you in on the rest.
You know how I do. You know what I do.
Yeah.
An American mother and daughter were, they say, scammed in Greece, in Mykonos, in a restaurant. And they were charged $641.15 for 2 crab legs and 2 cocktails. And when they were there, the woman's name is Brenda Moulton and her 19-year-old daughter, Kaylee. They had a beautiful day. They were on the beach. They were at this restaurant, DK Oyster Bar. And when the bill came, it was over $600. They had to pay in euros. But the two of them said, we got 2 crab legs and 2 mojitos. How is that possibly $600? They said, it is $600, and we will call the police, and you will be detained here if you don't pay that bill. You'll not be able to go back to your homeland, which is the United States. And that's where I stopped reading, but it's fascinating. Surely they don't have to pay this bill, or if it's written on the menu, do they? Do they have some sort of recourse here, Lisa? What do you think?
Well, this particular mom-daughter pair, they paid, and but the news is that you can fight this. It is a huge problem in Greece. The government in Greece is trying to combat this. They actually, in 2019, in the summer, they launched this whole kind of undercover sting operation to try to stop these companies from doing this, these restaurants. And a lot of it's like high-end, very sort of fancy Greek restaurants, and they lure these tourists in. Like in this situation, they had these lounge chairs on the beach, beautiful view, and what the restaurant is saying is, look, this is some really high-dollar real estate, and these people are coming here and sitting in these lounge chairs for like 2 hours and ordering almost nothing, and we can't survive that way, so we have to charge these huge prices. But the government says, no, it's fine for you to charge those prices, but you have to disclose on the menu because they don't disclose.
Oh, well, that's the problem.
And, so they're trying to fight it. The government's trying to fight it. And they'll start screaming at the person, I'm going to call the police, and blah, blah. And the Greek authorities say, look, if you get scammed like this, first of all, they say insist on seeing the prices. But if you do get scammed like this, and they threaten to call the police will be more on the tourist side now, and they'll try to work something out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
I hope so, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah, that's pure T crooked right there,
dirty
man.
pool. But they should just work out some sort of system where you can't sit unless you order, and you have to go after like an hour or whatever it is,
Yeah, but when you're far from home,
you don't know those things.
So vulnerable.
Yeah, you don't know that stuff.
And you don't speak the language. I mean, it's all Greek to you.
Well, I've been to Paris.
Looking for answers.
I told you earlier about.
He has, Lisa.
I've been to Paris.
He's been there.
I've been on the continent.
You know how the French are.
This is from this is England, I believe. This is Europe. A woman, a court in England, has awarded a 51-year-old cashier over $90,000, that's U.S. money, in compensation because everybody at her workplace had a happy hour. They went out for drinks, a happy hour, and did not invite her. And here's what happened. She found out other people were talking about, man, this happy hour is going to be awesome. And she said, what happy hour? And they were like, oh, nothing.
But you said it.
No, we were practicing for a play. So they went out. They had an awesome party, drinks.
Woo, yeah. Woo.
She wasn't invited. They didn't include her. She didn't go. Well, she resigned after that because she says the reason they didn't invite her is racial and that her age is a factor as well. She claimed age discrimination, racial discrimination, filed a lawsuit in December, quit her job, and was awarded over $90,000 in damages because I guess the judge agreed that this was racism and ageism in some way, and so she got that money. Do you think that would happen here in the United States, Lisa? Are you surprised by this judgment?
Well, for this judge to have found that their behavior was based on her race and age, she must have had other evidence. And this was a very little short blurb, and I couldn't really find much more on this story to give any more detail of the backstory about what evidence she may have had. But for a judge to conclude that they acted in this way because of her age, she was 51, I think, and she's biracial, and they were all white and young. And I think that it is, she proved somehow, she must have had there must have been a habit or practice. I can't imagine, even in England, where the labor laws are more favorable, for sure, to the employee. Even there, I can't imagine that this happened without lots of other evidence of discrimination.
Do you think there's a bunch of young whites around me that are going out having parties? And
daily.
Absolutely.
every day at 4:00.
That's my age. I bet they're going out with a bunch of all these young whites.
Where y'all going?
Oh, nowhere.
These young white kids. But as long as it's in this situation, if it's a purely social thing that your coworkers are doing, and it's not the corporation doing it, then that's fine all day long. But I think this was either the managers or a corporate sponsored thing or something, because there has to be some kind of action on behalf of the company. Okay. Your coworkers can blow you off all they want to.
Well, they have
daily.
Daily. We're about to do it here shortly again.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
What y'all doing tomorrow? Nothing.
Can I come with you? Hang on, let me grab my readers.
Y'all doing anything over the weweekend? Oh yeah, we got plans.
We're going somewhere. There's something going on.
Going out of town.
Not doing it. Sorry.
Yeah. Go play your pickleball. Go play your pickleball, man.
Yeah, you think that's right. That's what they say to me.
That's your home, Kelly. They'll always accept you at the pickle court.
Well, they're not including me. Actually, they don't even include me on the text anymore.
Ooh, now that hurts.
I just have to show up. And they're like, oh, there he is. In fact, last week they moved. They went somewhere else.
You shut up and there's tumbleweeds across the court.
What's going on here?
You're on to them.
I think they're telling me the wrong.
The lights go off.
They're telling me the wrong place to go.
Send you to the sketchy part.
Yes. They're sending me the bad part of town.
We never play here anymore.
That's right. What's going on here? Also, there's a story. We covered it earlier this week. A T-Mobile employee has been accused by Karen Munn, who's 24, of taking surreptitiously her nude photos off her phone. She went to T-Mobile to exchange or have her phone worked on. Guy says, oh, I need to take this in the back room. Well, that's trouble.
Yeah.
She immediately, when he came back, figured out, oh, wait a minute. And she trusted him. He went back there, sure enough, downloaded all her nudes. She's 24, so she has nudes on the phone. He got, now she's suing T-Mobile. My only question here is, obviously the guy's a creep, and he should have criminal charges against him. Theft of these nude photos. But can she sue T-Mobile as a company for this? Lisa, how does this work?
Yeah, she is suing T-Mobile as a company. And luckily for her, she saw, when he came out, he laid his phone down nearby, and she saw her nude pictures on the front of his phone.
Yeah, not only is he creepy, he's dumb.
Well, yeah, dumb, exactly, right. If you're going to do this, at least, turn your phone upside down.
Right. Is that my vajayjay right there? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't see anything.
Ooh, wow.
What are you talking about?
No, apparently this is a huge problem. You crack your screen, something, you take it in, you let them take it in the back, they're taking your photos.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem. And it's actually not just T-Mobile. There have been reports of this sort of thing happening. Really, every major cell carrier has had this problem. So there really needs to be, and the interesting thing is, from a criminal standpoint, there are not necessarily laws that neatly fit, a charge here, because our laws haven't really kept pace with technology. So, like in New York, where this happened to this lady, the story, there is just a fairly recent law passed in 2019 about the illegal removal of private images from a phone, making it illegal. But it gets into some really murky areas because you've handed over your phone to this person. You've asked them to access your phone. And then is the removal illegal? It should be, right? But it's not always clear in every jurisdiction. So they're having to, because you have to find a law, a violation that fits that scenario, and it's not always easy to do.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't even think of it from that angle, that the law hasn't kept up with it at this point. Yeah. But my thought is always, if it's one creepy employee and T-Mobile is a nationwide company, I guess they have insurance that would pay this person off for having this happen to them?
Well, typically an employer is not going to be found negligent or liable if it's an isolated incident, but here, they're going to say, if you're giving people access to a customer's private information, there needs to be some background screening.
Right.
So there's a negligent hiring claim.
Right.
And then if there have been maybe negligent supervision because you're not keeping an eye on these people to make sure that they're not doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I think they'll probably settle with her.
By the way, speaking of background checks, Lisa, I don't know if you know this, and I hate to hold you responsible for this, but I got a letter with your Lanier Law Group letterhead on it this week.
What?
Oh, my.
And I don't know if you know what's happened to me. I've been a victim of domestic terrorism. I've been getting letters for now about 3 to 4 weeks with simply one word written on the letter. It's F-A-R-T, and I hate that word. And I got one from you, Lisa, your letterhead, and I just wondered if you wanted to make a statement about this. Is there any kind of, can you make a closing argument about this in any way? Because I have to hold you responsible.
I heard about your little problem, and I had to jump on that bandwagon.
Oh, so it's original.
Oh, it was actually you. I was going
It
to
was
say
actually me,
that was
yeah.
actually you.
Well, Lisa, see, I was going to ask. We were wondering if you typed it yourself or if you had somebody like a legal assistant type it up, to which you had to say,
Bing, 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 bing.
to which means you had to call them and say, I need you to do something for me. Type fart on the
Yeah.
letterhead.
Can you type up a letter and get it out for me? All right.
What's in the letter, Ms. Lanier? Just type fart as big as possible.
Here's the address. Send it here.
Take a letter for me, would you, Madge?
No, you won't need your steno pad and pencil. You'll remember it.
Lisa, to know that you have sunk to this depth, it really hurts me.
Well, I think the term domestic terrorism is a little strong.
This is my attorney. She's my attorney.
Yeah, but she's American. We've all got a sense of humor.
It's very
For the
upsetting.
record, I have nothing to do with all those other.
Well, I would
parts
hope.
in the mail.
I would hope not. I just assumed this was some underling without your knowledge. Now she's claiming responsibility for it.
No. You know, I just, yeah, it's just a little, yeah. But you know, I don't know how to do my own letters, so I had to have help.
I figured. I'm thrown by this. I thought you'd say, "Well, I had nothing to do with this." No, I did it. Staffed it out.
Yep, did it.
Had it done. Lisa Lanier, always great to hear from you. Anyway, that's how much we like you. For Lawyer Up, she's our official attorney, LanierLawGroup.com. Have a great holiday weekend.
You too. Have a great weekend.
There she goes. We'll have her on again next week, of course. Chris Demm will be back.